Smitty, and one day Azure will be back here and there. His schedule is kind of crazy, but I believe he says he may be able to make a return soon. So until then, he's always here in spirit. So we'll just wait a few minutes, man, and make sure it's streaming. We'll give you guys a few seconds to get up in here. As you can see, we got the video happening again. And wait a minute, I hear myself playing in the background. Yep, so let me close that window out. Apologize for that. Y'all probably heard some double audio right there. But anyway, what's up, man? How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's week has been cool. I see Luke is already in here. Like I've said before, man, Luke is, he's definitely a loyal viewer of myself and Smitty, whatever we've ever done as far as streaming. He finds a way to be there, so we definitely want to appreciate him and give him a shout out. But outside of that, Smitty, man, as we wait for more people to collect up in here, how was your week? Anything, you want to discuss that we didn't necessarily put in the topics? Anything like that? How's everything been?
Everything's been good, man. Oh yeah, we ain't have it in there. Excuse me, how could I forget about All-Star Weekend? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All-Star Weekend was, excuse me, it was interesting. You know what I mean?
Was playing.
yeah. That I honestly,
I'm gonna add that to
I
the
like
topics
that.
right now. We can definitely
Yeah,
talk about that and the dunk contest.
yeah. So I'll say this: as far as Saturday is concerned, I mean, I ain't care about, Friday is whatever. I don't really care about that rookie showcase or whatever, that USA versus the world, that's whatever.
Yeah.
But Saturday, I mean, I like the way that they changed the skills competition. I mean, I know this it's not new, but I do like the way they have it because especially it does cater to the way the NBA is now. So it's like, you have a mix of bigs along with the guards. And it's like the guards take it so lightly because, they think, oh, these bigs ain't going to be able to do what, we could do as well. And they end up getting beat. So it's like the past 2 years, it's been the bigs that have won, or the bigger, forwards or centers that won. This year, Bam, was it Adebayo? I think I'm pronouncing it right. He won the skills competition, so shout out to him winning that. The three point shootout was cool. It was cool. Them adding that Mountain Dew 3-point shot in there, that's a nice little gimmick to throw in there, but it wasn't nothing wild and crazy. Um, but I will say that I know we definitely gonna touch on the dunk contest. Let me say this about the dunk contest: is I gotta say shout out to my man Expert. What's going on, man? When we touch that mat, hey, you know what, Sim? We need to get with him. Maybe next week or something like that. Well, no, I can't do next week. Oh, I'll talk to you offline.
Okay.
But in like the next week or two or something like that, we got to get him on.
I'm
We got to
down.
get Expert on, and we got to do. We could definitely talk about Madden and all that. You know what I'm saying, and really get into it, but have Expert on. So we got to click. Figure out.
Let's do it.
We'll coordinate it and do that because we got to do that. But what I want to say is that you know, 3 point was nice. You know, it wasn't mind blowing, but it was still entertaining. And then the dunk contest. Now, I will say this: Dwight Howard, Dwight Howard did a nice dunk. Okay,
He
both of
did.
his dunks were nice. That Statue of Liberty dunk is hard for him,
Yeah.
especially as big as he is, all the wear and tear he's had on his body, and for him to still be able to get on. I mean, his elbow was well above the rim.
I was surprised to see him compete. I mean, being
Yeah,
older, I'm like, wow. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Especially for a center. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, so for him to compete, I appreciate that. He tried to do, well, I won't say he tried. He did the dunk that he did from '08 and just, you know, in homage to Kobe. Um, it didn't have the same effect as '08 because it looked more organic in the sense, Jameer throws a pass up, he ran up, he just caught it and he just threw it in, like that looked like a Superman kind of thing right there. Like you catch the ball, you up in the air and you throw it in the hoop. Like it was tight. But he went ahead and, dunked it. It was it was good. Like he did a good job nevertheless. And then the funny thing was, even though Jameer I don't think he's on somebody's team anymore, but he still had him come out and throw the pass. You know what I'm saying? He threw the alley oop to him and everything. So it was like he tried to keep it all, the whole thing in effect there. So that was cool. Um, it would have been nice. When I was watching, to be quite honest, I felt like they need to stretch the field back out to 6. And they need to make it so that there could be at least 3 guys advance to the next round.
Yeah.
Because, and the reason I'm gonna tell y'all in just a second, because the reason why. Okay, let me just pull this up.
I agree with that. I'm tired of seeing just 4 guys.
Yeah, because the reason why is because I wanted to see Pat Connaughton. He did good enough to go into this next round.
He did, man. But it got overshadowed, man, because of and the whole white man can't jump theme. Like I was into it.
Yeah.
But them boys came out and put them, them big numbers on the board. But I like you right. Had it been more contestants, we would have seen what he had to offer.
Yeah, because he said he had another dunk that he was gonna do with that pitcher. As well, so I would have wondered what he was gonna do. What would he have done with him? Plus, that other dunk he had was pretty nice. He jumped over Giannis, touched the backboard, and dunked it. I'm like, hey, wait a minute now. Like, hold on.
Yeah.
So, and they also need to have, like, I would say, stretch the field out. You gotta have a cumulative score. Okay. You can't, you have to have a cumulative score or something like that because D-Wade was point shaving. You know what I'm saying? Like, clearly. I ain't gonna, these cats was point shaving. Like, you can't come out and say, I gotta see fresh new dunks. And it was like, my man kept doing the same kind of dunks. He literally kept doing the same kind of dunks. You know what I'm saying? And, I mean, Aaron Gordon both of them did nice dunks, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I can't say this was like an all-time great contest because part of the reason why it went the way it went was because it was like it was as if guys were trying to perfectly calculate what would be just enough to keep them going. And they kept passing 50s out left and right. I'm like, every single day. If it looked decent enough, oh, snap, 50. Oh, that's another 50. I'm like, is it really a 50?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And, like, that's why Gordon, like, man, look, I got to play. I will say this. When he went up against my man, Levine, that one made more sense for Levine to win that time. That I agree with. This one though, he should have won. But this is the one thing that I will say. Wow. Okay. Yeah. But this is the one thing that I will say. Yeah. Like I just saw that.
God, can y'all just chill, man?
Yeah, but what I will say is that I can't say it because I can't say it's like the greatest or that the dunks that Aaron Gordon. Well, he has some dunks that you can make an argument for, but at the same time, these guys are using all kinds of props. You know what I'm saying? Like they're using a lot of props to do these dunks and everything. Vince Carter ain't using no props. You know what I'm saying? Like when Vince Carter did his show, he ain't had no props. Like, and the thing is, in that contest, you had to do a dunk with a teammate. So that him catching the ball and taking it through the leg, that was like he had to do it. You know. So that's excuse me. So there's a big difference with that, in comparison to some of the dunks that Aaron Gordon did. But nevertheless, it was crazy. But at the end of the day, he got robbed. Yes, that dunk off the side of the when he caught that dunk off the side of the
That
backboard,
joint was ill,
that
man.
should have been it. That should have been it.
Yeah. And he
That
got
literally
all
should have been it.
50s.
Yeah.
All
Except
50s. Like,
yeah.
come on. Ain't no tie. I get it that you moved on, but like you said, it's got to be a cumulative type of score situation when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was foul, but like I said, my man got robbed, and that's why he was just like, man, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like, man, I'm gonna work on my skills. I'm gonna work on my jump shot. Like I'm gonna try. Like that's the whole thing. He's all about being involved, but he's just like, I ain't doing the dunk no more, man, because like he's like, yo, I keep on getting played. You know what I'm saying? And it's like he literally did get played. Like Wade wanted his teammate to get it. And I mean, look, did he clear tackle for? Did he completely clear him, like 100% fully just clear him? No, he didn't. But when it came to him grabbing the ball and clearing over him, when it got time for him dunking it, he did.
Yeah.
It wasn't until after he dunked it, and understand this, he hit tackle, he hit his hands. When his leg touched his hand, that's when he bent all over and did all that stuff. So it wasn't like he straight kicked him in the his thigh smacked him in the back of the neck or something like that. Like no, he legit for him to say I'm gonna jump over this 7'5" dude on the fly just like that, and he did it and two-handed it too off
Yeah.
the oop like that. That I gotta give him credit. So off of that, yeah, I was like, yo, I gotta give him if I'm not gonna give him a 50 for that, then that means that because I don't know if Derrick Jones dunked after him or whatever, but no, he dunked last. If I'm gonna give Aaron Gordon a 50 for that windmill off the side of the backboard, then that means that Derrick Jones would have to do something just as if not more epic, and he did not. At least to me,
That
he did
windmill
not.
was, man,
That windmill was sick.
nuts. Like,
Yeah. So,
but yeah,
But
you
go
know,
ahead, Sim. I'll throw it
Smitty,
to you, man.
he cleaned it up for me right there. I don't really have nothing else to add. I felt the same way, man. I mean, I guess you can't. I won't argue somebody down if they feel like Jones won, but I feel like to me, Aaron Gordon's was a little more creative. Now, don't get me wrong, Jones, like his stuff was crazy too, but I didn't even notice this, man. I heard somebody else say it, and it made me reanalyze it. And I can't even remember who I heard say this, but it was like if you really look at all of his dunks, they were pretty much the same type of dunk. He was just doing them
Yeah.
from a different angle, and I was like, oh, you know what? I didn't even really pay much attention to that. Whereas Aaron Gordon, he did throw a little more creativity, at least with two of his dunks. And a couple, he kind of was like, oh, y'all gonna give him that? All right, I'm gonna do his dunk. But I think Gordon should have won it, man.
Yeah.
So that's just how I feel about it. Real quick, I just want to throw out there shout outs to Wody Mack. Nah, man, I'm not tripping about the joke. I'm all for good jokes, man. Barbershop talk and all that. I was just saying, nah, I ain't getting into none of that here. I'm just going. Yeah, whatever. Dwayne Wade and what's going on with his fam. Hey, God bless him. That's all I'm gonna say. I ain't even going down that road. So that's all I was saying. Not saying that you couldn't make the joke. But yeah, that's all I was saying. But yeah, man, I don't think I got anything else to add about the dunk contest. The All-Star game, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I wish I would have had watched the whole game. I normally don't watch the All-Star game because it's whatever. But I happened to catch the last quarter, And I was like, oh, these dudes is playing for real. And to me,
Yeah.
outside of, the chance of getting hurt, I would love to see that more often. I would love to see who we're claiming the best guys in the league getting busy. Like it almost reminds me of think if you go somewhere and we go on the playground and the best dudes in the city all out there. I mean, from all of the school, because we did this back in the day. I don't know how some people may get down, but that's how it was where I grew up. Even if it was football, sometimes we go out there and play like touch football when we weren't supposed to, because coaches would be like, y'all get hurt. But it was always this respect thing where in the city, you would have dudes from this school, this area, that area, the best athletes, best players out there getting it in. And it's all love. And to me, that's what it reminded me of on the highest level. Like some of the best NBA talent, and these dudes was balling. And Kawhi out there, like, man, still making the claim as very quietly probably one of the, if not the best players in the league at the moment. This dude is consistent. LeBron getting off. I mean, all of them, it was just a good thing to see, and to see it come down to like a 1-point game or what have you. I enjoyed it. I like that more than it felt like Smitty, like it wasn't just that they scored 150 plus points like they normally do. It was like a competitive part of it at one point where it was like, oh no, they fighting to get them points. So I enjoyed it, man. I know obviously you can't really do that with football because you don't want dudes out there, in the Pro Bowl, like out there really trying to tear each other head off because some real serious injuries can happen. But on the basketball court, I loved it. And I would love for it to be like that.
That's what they did at the Pro Bowl before. Well, at least Sean Taylor.
Oh man,
he was like, "Hey, this is how I got in the Pro Bowl."
Yeah, man. I enjoy it. It is what it is. Yeah. Because to me, I hate when it's just like it was cool, but I never was a fan of guys throwing the ball off the backboard and doing all these crazy. Because I knew, it was cool to see, but what I'm saying is I knew at that point it wasn't about defense. It was just everybody just out here playing and showboating. I've always rather it be a competitive, friendly competition, but a competitive thing. Because what we're looking at is the best guys in the league. I want to see how good y'all are against each other. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. That fourth quarter was something special.
Yeah, it was definitely really good. I definitely will say that to see those guys truly compete and go after it like that, that's reminiscent of how all-star games used to be. Like, yeah, they had some fun here and there, throw some passes here, throw some passes there or whatever. But then not passes, excuse me, thinking of Madden at the same time. Like they would throw some oops and, do some dribble moves and all that kind of stuff or whatever. They would do all that, but then after that, it gets to a point where it's time to get serious and ball out. And the fact that they did that's sweet right there. Like, I like the fact that they actually went after it. Dudes was clowning that Giannis got to put together the team that he put together, but look, they dang near came away with it. You know what I'm saying? Like they were strategically playing. It was like, hey yo, in the crunch, what they doing? Hey man, whoever got who's hard to sign to? Are we gonna get them the ball? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you go ahead, you get Harden, you get them. It's okay, go ahead and have them. We got something for that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like it's cool to see those guys going after it like that, because I'm like, that's what the All-Star game is supposed to be like, though. It's supposed to be a game when you see how, these guys are having some fun, but then at the same time, they still want to compete. They still are showing that competitive edge. So, yes, I love the fact that that's how the game is now, and that's what they're going after going forward. You know, like I want to see that. I want to see them play like that going like throughout. Oh, excuse me, the rest of the way. I want to see them ball like that the rest of the way, man. That'll be off the chain. So yeah, but that was good. That was a really good game.
Yeah, man.
Hmm.
Definitely enjoyed that. I see Chad Mullen is asking for the stream. Don't think we're gonna do that tonight, man. I'll probably talk to Smitty about this offline, but to be honest, I don't really like the Skype interaction with callers. Especially if, let's say, if we get 6 or 7 people that want to call, it's kind of messy. I like it better with, when we have blog talk, and maybe what I might start doing, since I pay for it anyway for Tuesday, maybe we'll bring that back and use that on the show as well. We'll see how that goes. But for now, nah, I mean, unless we're going to do, like we said, we're going to try to get expert on next week, unless we're just going to do a straight panel show like that, then yeah. But I think we'll hold off on just taking calls right now, because it's just a personal thing for me. I don't like the Skype thing, and now me and Smitty are using a different type of thing in Skype to get our faces on here. I don't know if it's gonna go crazy if we add somebody else in there because of the software that I'm using. But so just wanted to say that. But yeah, Smitty, I fully agree. The boys was tight, and it was just good to see. It was good to see that instead of just playing around. It was good to see some real competition. It was something else I thought about, man, while you were talking. Another topic that I didn't have written down.
Yeah.
Trying to remember what it was. It was something as we were talking about the All-Star thing. I don't know. But let's move on, man. Let's go on to, let's see. Let's talk about this CBA thing, man. And then we'll get to the Wilder and Fury fight.
Yeah.
But how do you feel? Well, you know what? Let's save that. Let's go ahead and go to the fight now, because then I'm pretty sure when we start talking about football, there's some Madden talk that's gonna fall up in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So we might as well wait and do that last. So we'll go ahead and talk about the fight real quick. I'll kick it off. And shout outs to my guy, Rough House Boxing, man. Make sure you guys go check him out. He's definitely a loyal listener to me as well with the Steelers things. We share that in common, but, he's a boxing guy. We actually share that in common. So make sure you go check him out, Rough House Boxing TV. He says Wilder by KO between rounds 5 and 8. And then he says Bomb Squad, as y'all know, Deontay Wilder and his Bomb Squad. I'm going to say this, man, and it might not be the most popular opinion, Smitty. I like Deontay Wilder. I like his demeanor. I like his gladiator spirit. I like that a lot of times he uses his will to win. That's always an attractive trait of mine, of guys and girls. There's somebody who's just, about their business, the will to be great, the will to win, blah, blah, blah. However, I kind of feel like if you look at the first fight and you ask yourself, which guy do you think is going to be able to make the necessary adjustment to be more successful? I honestly got to say Fury. The reason why I say that is, again, the way I look at boxing, and Smitty knows this, and Rough House knows this now, I'm a huge boxing fan. It's boxing and football for me. I've been watching boxing since I was a little child. Same with football. So those are probably my top 2 sports. I like basketball, but I'm not a basketball enthusiast like that. Fury showed me something in that first fight. I hadn't watched a lot of Tyson Fury fights. I had seen a couple. I had never seen him display that type of boxing, at least in the fights that I've seen. I know some people are probably going to say, well, that's how he is. But again, I wasn't a big follower of Tyson Fury. I had seen a fight or two. He showed me that this dude really knows how to box, at least, on his level. And he's awkward. He frustrated Deontay Wilder quite a bit. And honestly, I think if Deontay Wilder had not got those knockdowns, I still actually think that Fury won the fight on points. Shocked me. I'm gonna tell you, by the fifth, sixth round, I'm sitting there looking dumbfounded, like, yo, this dude about to beat Deontay Wilder. But let's be honest, guys. I've never thought Deontay Wilder was a great fighter. Listen to what I'm saying. A great fighter. I'm talking about pure fighter as far as a boxing technician. He's not that. He is a strong, powerful, will to win, bricks in his hand type of guy. If he get a shot on you, a lot of times you going to sleep. I don't know how Tyson Fury got up in that last round. The way he went down, I thought it was over. But my knock against Deontay has always been he ain't got no defense. Not only that, he has a jab, but he doesn't always use it the way I think he should. And if you notice, when he gets into bomb squad mode, he's very reckless. He comes in, sometimes his punches are very wide. You know, he's there to be counter shots are written all over his face. And I always said, if he fought somebody who really could fight, could be a problem. If Ortiz was a younger Ortiz, might have gave him more of a problem. And I know this ain't fair to say, but a guy like Lennox Lewis, I don't think Deontay Wilder would have had a chance. Shoot, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Vladimir Klitschko might have got him. Now, let me pause before I go too far. If he touched Klitschko, Klitschko's going to sleep. Everybody knows Vladimir didn't have the chin. But I think Vladimir Klitschko probably could have outboxed Deontay Wilder in a 12-round fight easy. And that's my thing. So let me get back to the point that I throw it to Smitty. I want Wilder to win because I just think to me, you're going to understand what I'm saying, Smitty. I'm not comparing him to Tyson at all, no. But he gives me that feeling where, I want my heavyweight to just be a dude that people ain't trying to mess with, like a dominant personality. I want him to be a bad man, and that's how I feel about Wilder. I want him to represent as the undisputed heavyweight champion because he has that bravado. But I hope they did something in camp, man, because I feel that he's going to be the same way. I don't think he's going to make many adjustments. And I think if there's a chance for one of these guys to improve from what they did in the first fight, I'll have to lean more Fury than Wilder. But I predict that Wilder is probably going to do just enough to get closer a little earlier in the fight. And I think he probably can get a knockout as well. Just not confident, man. I just don't think the fight can go the way it did the first time, and Wilder will be able to sneak out of that one again. That's just my opinion.
Okay. I think Wilder's going to win, and I think Wilder's going to drop him.
Yeah. We'll see.
Now, I'm using my John Jones theory, here with this. And the reason why I'm saying this is, look, I know Jones just had a fight recently where technically, if it weren't for the championship rounds, honestly, Jones would have lost. Yeah. I would say that. But the toughest opponent he had before that was Alexander Gustafsson. The first fight.
That was a tough dude. Boy.
That was, yeah.
God almighty.
That was a mean fight.
Yeah.
Okay, like that. Honestly, I feel Gustafsson should have won that fight. But once again, when you put it in the hands of the judges, that's when the scale could tip either way. But that first fight meant a lot because the next time they met, Jones just handled him. I mean, I think he finished him in the first round or maybe in the second round. I think first round. Like, I thought it was like, oh, man. And that's the whole thing I was thinking, like, man, after that first fight, man, them brothers did some work. And, Jones had got hurt in that and everything. Well, he didn't stumble, but it was like Jones, that was a fight where he was really, really tested and honestly should have lost. But the difference is when you look at this from a boxing. When you look at this, I mean, the second match, Jones had that time to prep. He didn't make those mistakes at all. He came in and fought an absolute clean. Like, he straight owned the man. Now, this is the difference, and this is where it can kind of go like what you're saying, Sim. Fury can possibly pull this out though, still, because, like you said, John Jones, he's a technical fighter. He uses technicality. He just doesn't say, I got ridiculous reach, so I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna light you up. Like, no. He's calculated with what he does. Deontay is not calculated
at all.
You know what I'm saying? Not in the least bit.
He's wild, man.
Yeah.
He got the right name, Wilder. Yeah. He is the wilder fighter of them all. He just comes in, man. Smitty, sometimes, I mean, as a boxing guy, I'd be screaming at the TV like, bruh, protect yourself. Like, I mean, he be throwing haymakers.
Yeah.
A real boxer would get him out of there really quick.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Fury has the technicality enough to be like, okay, you know what? I see what this man did. I got you. I'm gonna let this guy wild out a bit, and then I'm gonna catch him in the midst of that wilding out. Because guess what? I don't know if Deontay hit him with his hardest shot, but at the same time, you knocked my man out.
Man, that was a left hand too.
Yeah, you knocked my man out. And then he still got back up on top of that and still was able to hang with you for a bit. So it's like, when you do that, yeah, that's something to be like, okay, so I didn't lay this brother clean out where other dudes would be done. This dude still got up, still went after it. So from his standpoint, it's like, okay, I got it. I got it and I get it now. Let him do all that stuff. Honestly, he could basically pull some kind of rope-a-dope. Go ahead, throw all them punches, exhaust yourself, because you're not gonna be technical with it. You swinging for the fences. You looking for that home run hit, and that's it. But the thing is, like you said, take a Floyd Mayweather kind of approach to an extent. Pick your targets. Pick them apart a little bit. Get them a little bit frustrated. Then, before you know it, in them later rounds or whatever, or mid to later rounds, you're going to be the took them out. You're going to be able to turn around and, well, not necessarily wild out, but you're going to be able to drop him. Like, you're going to be able to clean drop him to the deck. So I'm just saying, you know, I think, like I said, my initial thing is, I feel that from one side of the fence, Wilder will come out and he'll drop him. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I think excuse me. You know, I dropped him before, but he still got up and came back. I'm going to make sure I get him this time. But because of his raw, like, he's just a raw. He's basically like a Kimbo Slice. Rest in peace, Kimbo. Yeah. But he's like a Kimbo Slice. This is a guy with power. He looks like a complete animal out there in the cage. Like, he's just an uncaged animal, just wild. He's going crazy at you.
He on the hunt at all times. I love it.
Yeah. So he's a killer in that ring, but he's not boxing smart. He's boxing to knock you out. He's not boxing he's not boxing with intelligence. And that's what can mess around and cost him, because he's just going for home run hits, and that's it. So it's going to be like that. But, I mean, ultimately, yes, I want to see Deontay get it. So hopefully he does get it. Hopefully he does, man. But I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a fun one.
It's going to be good, man. And see, I want Deontay to win. It's because of what my man Roughhouse Boxing said, and I'm going to reference what he said. He says he's talking about Anthony Joshua, and this is the reason too, Kia, because I know Kia mentioned that he think Joshua could possibly beat Wilder. But kind of what Roughhouse Boxing said is the reason why I don't think Anthony Joshua can beat him. He says, to me, Anthony Joshua lacks that dog necessary to be the baddest heavyweight in the game. That sums it up perfectly. Joshua just don't have, to me, he don't have the it factor. Now, he got some skills. But I think Deontay already beat him, just in the mind. I don't think he can beat Deontay Wilder. No way. I just don't. And I not just talking about complete, disregarding his skills. It just seems like he wouldn't have a chance in the ring with Wilder. I feel like Fury shows that he's less afraid than Anthony Joshua does. Fury don't look like he backing down at all. I mean, even in the first fight, he's like, look, let's do it. Let's get it on. He earned my respect. But you gotta have that dog, man. Like, to me, that's what made Tyson the man. That's what I need to see in my heavyweight. Got that mean streak. You know what I'm saying? Like a guy that's just ready to take your head off. And it's all love. It's all business. But I want the heavyweight champion of the world to have that mentality. And, Anthony Joshua, I don't think he could beat Wilder. But again, like me and Smitty just said, man, Wilder has to be careful. I hope he gets it done. I would love to see a knockout. But he has to be careful. I hope that they studied that tape and they practice on something in camp. Something, a little something that they might be able to expose for, from Fury and get it done. But I will say this too, and then we can move on. All Tyson, I ain't gonna say all he got to do, but the game plan should be he need to smother Deontay's power. Smother it. Use the first round or two to find out where that distance is at. Go back and look at the film from the first fight and see when he started pressing a little more. And don't give him that arm length. Smother that power and outbox him, because everybody who had eyes could say he outboxed Deontay Wilder. So if they can figure out how to neutralize that power, smother it, don't be too far. Well, you can kind of be too far away, but don't be at that sweet spot. Either be really far or smother it. You got a chance. But I do think if Wilder touches him again like he touched him in the first fight, I think he's going to sleep. I do think, Smitty, if Wilder wins, this time it's going to be a right hand. He going to find a way to land that right hand. And that one's going to put him, he going to go night-night. You ready to go night-night? Yeah. He about to put him out. We'll see. But let's see. What else did we have on the agenda? Yeah, you're right, Kia. That's how he beat Klitschko. Absolutely. If he come in fighting and he fights like that, Wilder might be in a little bit of trouble, man. Because again, I've watched Wilder long enough to feel like he is what he is. I don't see him being a guy that's gonna really make adjustments at this point of his career. He trusts his power. He trusts his heart and his determination. And I think if it gets to a point where he's getting touched a little bit, he's going to turn into the brawler. So, I don't know. We'll see. What was the next? Oh, CBA. So, Smitty, I got to ask you, man. I'm going to throw it to you first in chat. You guys, please let us know how y'all feel. So, according to the CBA, there's a proposal on the table that will actually take effect this year in 2020. In terms of the playoffs, okay, for you guys who haven't heard, instead of having 12 teams, the proposal is to have 14 teams, right? So you'll have 7 teams from each conference, and not only that, only one team from each conference, so basically the number 1 seed will get the bye. And I know when that news came out, yesterday, I was actually in the barbershop, a couple people in there was like, yo, that don't make sense. Why couldn't they both have a bye? And I was like, because the extra team. You gotta, it ain't gonna add up if, if there's 2 teams with a bye, you ain't gonna be able to do it like that. You gotta have one team will sit, and then the other 6 will be able to go head to head, and there you have it. You can't have it to where 2 teams sitting and there's 5 left. And then, everybody was like, oh, yeah, didn't think about it like that. So that's the only way they can make it work mathematically. You got to have only one team, which, I don't have a huge problem with that because then it makes fighting for that number one. You know what, Smitty? I said I was going to throw it to you, but I'm into my thoughts.
Cool. No, go ahead.
I'm in my thoughts real quick, so let me try to explain what I was going to say. I see it as a positive and a negative in some spots. The positive to me would be with the number one seed being the only one with the bye. That makes everyone have to really play through the end. You know how when a lot of times teams will be like, even with us, with the Steelers this year, we was like, oh, maybe the Ravens will rest their players and blah, blah, blah. And they did. We still couldn't beat them because we ain't had no offense. But you ain't going to be able to, rely on that. You ain't going to be able to rely on, oh, this team and that team can sit their guys because really only one team will have that luxury to as far as getting the number one seed. And you might have more competition in the last week. What if it's two teams that's fighting for that number one spot? I like that from a competitive standpoint. The thing that's kind of crazy, though, is it's a negative and a positive. But you know what else, Smitty, in chat that is going to make it way more competitive is those 9-7 and those 8-8 teams. Oh, boy. That opens up a whole lot of possibilities. Think about how it is right now. Think about the Pittsburgh Steelers, once again, for you Steelers fans who are in here. How we ended up tied with the Titans, and then we lost an extra game, and then we couldn't keep the spot. But think about now, the Steelers, I think, would have still had we finished 8-8. We might have still got in the playoff. So then look at all of them tiebreakers now that you're going to have with all of the 8-8 teams, the 9-7 teams, and the 7-9 teams. That's going to make it very interesting, man, in the playoffs if you add an extra spot. Trying to think, is there anything else that how I feel might be a negative? I don't know. I don't see. I'm going to try to take my feelings out of it, Smitty, because I know a lot of times, it's human nature for us to be like, nah, I prefer the old way. But let me ask this question to you and the chat. What is it about the current way that we feel so lovely about? Like, what's the difference? The only thing that I can see that's different is that number 2 spot don't mean nothing in terms of a bye. You're still going to get, I assume you're still going to get your home field because it's still going to be based on ranking. But that team just doesn't get a bye. Other than that, I don't really see too many negatives, and maybe I'm just not viewing them yet. I think it's going to make it a little more competitive again because you have lower tier teams, them 8-8, 7-9s possibly that can slide up in there and have an interesting run. And like I said, I think it makes the weeks mean more. Week 15 through 17 gonna mean a whole heck of a lot more now. When you got only one team that has the potential to get the bye. So I don't know, man. What do y'all think, man? I'm gonna throw it to Smitty, but I want to know what you guys think, man. That's gonna be a little interesting. I'm curious to see how it plays out, and if it don't work, you scrap it and go back to the old format. But what do you think about it, Smitty?
I think that's a good idea, to be quite honest, because now it makes it so that you really have to play to the end.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And teams that were more on the outside actually do have a chance to make an impact. You know what I'm saying? Because look, the NFL, the way it is now, it's literally, the way it is, it's all about just having a chance. You just need a shot to make something happen. And that's all it takes. And then you can do something great. So, like you said, what if excuse me, what if you're an 8-8 team or a 7-9 team or something like that? You're not completely eliminated. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, play.
Kia's making good points, man, about the
yeah.
And you know what? That I agree with you fully, Kia, but that makes it interesting.
That's
now
right.
you better get that number 1 spot, baby. Number
Exactly.
2, hey.
That's a good point.
You did a good job, but you playing next week, brother. So yeah, that's I don't disagree with it at the moment. I gotta hear more about it, but at the moment I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I like to see it. I like to see it come to snap. I like to see it come to fruition. Oh, by the way, I'm testing out this I fired up Madden real quick because I know they did that update. Yeah, they did that update or whatever.
You see that video that Deuce Douglas posted? He did the comparisons on Twitter.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Yeah, he did. It's cool, but this is the only problem with it because put defense out there.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's why I'm practicing it with defense. No, because you're not gonna have enough time in the See, you're not going to honestly have enough time in the pocket for him to run his route the way receivers run their routes in Madden. They run them too slow. So when you're offense, think about it, offense all alone, if no one jams you at the line, if no one bumps you while you're running your route, Hill could run that whole route pretty clean, relatively fast, but with secondary out there, nah.
That's another interesting part, man. Kind of throwing Madden in the mix. We got to remember. And see, here's the thing. We always end up talking about Madden, man.
See, but you know what? In a CFM, that'd be tight.
Yeah.
Those rules to be quite.
I was just saying that, man. I just made the playoffs, and in our season 4, I lost though in the playoffs, but I ended up getting in there. 9-7. I went on a run. My last 3 games, I won them, and I slid in there. But I was so far ahead of if I'm trying to remember the records. Azure did great this season, and I ended up playing him in the playoffs and lost. The first game we played, I lost to him early, and me and him always either I win by a touchdown or he win by a touchdown or a field goal. It's always like that. He got me good in the playoffs though. I think he won by 2 touchdowns. But anyway, it was like him and Tavis and Halem, a couple of the guys that are always doing pretty good. Chris, the Patriots owner. But it was like your 13-2s, your 14-2. 13-3s, 14-2, 12-4. Then there's me, 9-7. Then after that, man, Smitty dudes was like 8-8. 7-9. I was so far. I didn't even have to win in week 17. I could have finished 8-8 and I would have gotten the playoff. Because Azure beat the only other guy that was close to me as far as conference record. But even looking at it like that, one of them dudes would have made it. If there was a new format, it would have been more of us there to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was crazy, man. But what was I about to say? Something else about Madden. Oh, here's the interesting thing about Madden, man, where realism and video game, where we wish the lines could blur, because then you wouldn't have to have all of these rules. One of the biggest rules that we have in our league and a lot of sim leagues is guys drop back too far. That's been a big complaint from the sim world. Guys are dropping back too far and this and that and this and that, right? We even got it in the league right now where you're not really supposed to drop back beyond the quarterback's original drop back. Now, if you go back a touch, it's no big deal. If you move left to right or rolling out to the right and stuff like that, cool. But we just don't want guys to, have the 3 or 5 or 7 foot drop and then you dropping back 10 more yards. We don't want that. Because the AI, in the game doesn't react properly to it, etc., etc. But here's the funny thing about that play. They even said it during the Super Bowl broadcast. Mahomes dropped back like 50 yards and still made that throw. And that's the funny thing to go along with what Smitty said. In Madden, in order for you to get that off, you're gonna have. I don't know. I haven't tested it. I'm just saying. I did see shout outs to Sports Gamers Online, man. Shout outs to the Natural over there. He knows who he is. I saw he put out a video and he had a clip, a couple clips of that, of that play in there. And it looks like you do have to drop back a little bit to get time. And that's the funny thing about Madden. In order for this play to work, if we're gonna say you can't do a ridiculous drop back like how they do in the MCS tournaments, it's gonna be hard to get that play off. But the reality is, in the real world, Mahomes intentionally dropped back much further than he normally would to get the play off. And that's where realism in video games, there's always that disconnect where it should be more like this, it's more like this. The lines should be blurred instead of you having to implement rules and such that is quote unquote unrealistic, but there's things that are quote unquote unrealistic that happen in real football all the time. So the little rant that I just went on, man, I say all that to say this, and just in case, Smitty didn't hear the whole thing, I'll just say a little piece of it again. The reality is in Madden, right? None of us like super dropbacks because it's not realistic. And we put in those rules in our league that you can't really drop back beyond the original drop back because the AI doesn't act appropriately, blah, blah, blah. But here's the funny thing. In the real world, Patrick Mahomes intentionally dropped back like 15 yards to get that pass off. So like Smitty said, it's going to be interesting in Madden how you going to get it off unless you're doing an extensive drop back or buying some time in the pocket. And that's where I hate, again, what I was saying, Smitty, is I hate that the lines don't blur more with realism in video game. It's more of a headbutt situation where we have to implement rules because Madden is not realistic, but there's things that happen in the real NFL that's not necessarily realistic because it just happens.
Yeah.
So I wish the game could, I know I'm talking future stuff, but I wish we could have a game like that where nobody's beefing if I drop back a little further or whatever because I'm doing this on purpose to get this throw off. And a guy like Mahomes can make that throw. Maybe another quarterback can't. But nobody would beef about it because we know, he can do that. It's not a game problem. You know what I'm saying? So,
because this is the thing. I would say APF to a degree already had that because think about it. When you wanted to throw a bomb, basically, a bomb pass downfield, you had that long wind-up animation.
Yeah.
That took time, right?
Yeah. I used to be like, get out of it, dummy, you're going to get sacked. Yo, I used to love that animation. My man go down to the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
But the thing about it is, you can't stand in the pocket like normal in order to do that. You're going to have to drop back 10, 15 yards because that animation take a moment for you to be able to throw that thing downfield. So, and the same thing, Russell Wilson, he used to do that at times as well, where he was dropping back to throw a deep ball or whatever. You would see him purposely drop back 10, 12 yards back on purpose to buy him that extra time. So when he needed to step up and throw that pass, he'd step in and throw that bomb. You know what I'm saying? But it's the same deal here. The problem is with Madden, though, is that you got a guy like Tyreek Hill, as fast as he runs his routes, even though this is a very deep route, he doesn't run it as fast as he should be running it. And it's the player movement, the way that route running is replicated here. There's some problematic areas with it. Yeah. And then, of course, the wideout DB interactivity aspect of it too. That's a problem as well. So it's just like there's multiple things here to look at, multiple pieces. But yeah, it's gotta be. Excuse me. That's the one thing about it that just makes it frustrating to me. Like you can have all the authentic plays at it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And yes, what Deuce Douglas shown is a nice comparison. But see, while that's like doing what my man Shady does, the only difference is Shady has the defense there too, in terms of replicating it. Can you really do? I mean, you could. Don't get me wrong. You can make the play, but can you make? Can you truly make the play like how it was done in real life, and then put that side by side?
Yeah.
More than likely, no, you cannot. You know what I'm saying? And because Tyreek Hill, it don't take him that long to run that route, dude. It doesn't. You know, so
I want to know how it will be defensed. I want to know what's going to happen. Let me see. How am I saying this? You know how sometimes now the deep safety, I mean, it's a little better, but it's still like sometimes they waiting forever to react. And so I want to know how they're going to react to that type of route, because that is basically a super deep corner route. So how is the the deep safety going to read it? Is he just going to keep drifting and keep, you know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like it's going to be a whole lot of usering of that safety over the top. If you suspect somebody is using that play, we'll see. We'll definitely see. But yeah, man, you're right. It's like and I know, guys, we're not trying to be overly critical, but got to try to get this stuff as realistic as possible. And I've heard people say this for years, and I definitely agree. You know, guys don't run their routes. You know, Smitty have said it millions of times. They don't run their routes as fast as they should in Madden. That's just a global thing. You know, guys are not in and out of their cuts and out of their breaks fast enough. Like, think about how many times you're expecting a guy to run a certain route. It's hard to throw him open in Madden. Because a lot of times I try to do it. It works sometimes, but I think that's just the computer whipping their head around. But it don't happen organically. Like, I don't feel like I could throw the ball to a spot. That's one reason. But another reason is sometimes it still feels like the throw is connected to the route. Where if you throw it too early, I can't say I'm going to put it right here, even though he's over here. I can't put it here. It's a split second when you're able to do it. Like sometimes with corner routes and slants, it's a little millisecond that there's a pocket of time where you can pre-throw it, but you can't do it all the time. And I think that those interactions are tethered together, man. Like, and again, you see it happen so many times against users. Oh my God, how many times, man, I've been frustrated so often when I got the corner route wide open. But for whatever reason, when the user clicks on, it seems like the ball, instead of it throwing towards the sideline, it goes on a straight line. Then the tight end has him by this much. Then the ball is thrown on a straight line, and then the user is able to get there and get in front of it. Little stuff like that. But like Smitty said, it's great that they're putting this stuff in. It's just, and let me say this real fast, Smitty, because, I'm going to basically hit on what a lot of you guys, wrote back tonight. We asked y'all to share some topics with us. And every topic was in regards to Madden. Most of it was, what are we expecting in Madden 21? What are must-haves in Madden 21? What do we think it will be on the next consoles? Et cetera, et cetera. And it comes down to what we say every time, guys. And to be honest, this is the reason why we're kind of like drained talking about Madden, because it's the same stuff. Until they get it to where everything is loose, we're going to be talking about the same problems. And that's all that me and Smitty are looking for Madden 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and beyond.
Yeah.
Just make this game as untethered as you can. Make physics matter at all times in all situations. Make physical mass, weight, momentum, and leverage matter at all times. One-to-one interactions. That's it.
Yep.
And then, of course, there's other things that you sprinkle on top of that to take it to the next level. But that's it. Until they can get that stuff, it's a wait and see. That's all I can do, man. I don't have any optimism, and I'm just waiting to see.
And you know something here. Okay, you know something. To your point, Sim, I just tested it out. I mean, this is going up against the CPU, of course, but the safety goes from the safety ends up chasing you basically. So I did cover two man defense. All the safety does is drift back. He watches the middle half, and then until you throw the ball, like he lets the receiver purposely get behind him. So, I mean, he gets so far behind on each play. It's not even funny.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Because all he does is backpedal, all the way till the hash mark. But it's well after I've already thrown the pass. Like, I've thrown the pass already. I've thrown the pass. Like, let me see, how far is he? It's like right before he makes the break to the outside, before he'll makes the break to the outside on his route. And I've got the ball out of there. And is that right? Yeah, I got the ball out of there. And the safety is still backpedaling until I pass him up. And then he wants to chase me and trail.
See?
Come on, like, you can't.
That's the stuff, man.
See, this is why. This is why people be playing all pro football and NFL 2K and old Madden. I got an Xbox and that's gonna be coming in the mail. Okay, I'm gonna be playing Madden 08 because like this is why you implement this. You implement these plays. Hey Tyreek, go ahead and send out a tweet. Hey man, what about that play we did in the Super Bowl? Can y'all put it in? Hey, we got you. And they put it in, but this is too, like, your game doesn't work right with it.
Neff is crazy.
Yeah, I know Neff up here. He's crazy, man.
What a twerk button.
Neff out here crazy, man. He wilding out.
I'd be watching. I'd watch. Sign me up, coach. I watch.
So, yeah. No, I haven't. Usually I'm up here doing other stuff during the day, Luke. That's why I haven't in a while, but I'll be back with doing it when I can. But the thing is, this right here, no, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, I mean, this is bad, man.
That's the problem,
this is just
man.
bad. And this is why go ahead, Sam. Go ahead.
The issue is too, and what's so frustrating to us is we know what the problem is. Really, it's funny, man, because we've had this conversation in studio. Even when Rex was there, we've always said, look, man, we got to have a level of adaptive AI. Meaning, and Neff is in here. Neff knows this more than anybody. With Backbreaker, they had behaviors built into where, and again, some of you guys never played it extensively. We did, so we saw these things. Let that corner get burned a few times. All of a sudden, you're going to see him start cheating inside, backing up a little bit, like reacting on the fly, like, no. This dude toasted me a couple times. I'm going to be overly cautious. Here was the argument in the studio. Even some of the devs. Now, this is not an indictment on them. I'm just saying they also have to think about things from a user standpoint and company standpoint. So it's not to say that they don't know, but you have to pose these questions. Again, Clint is good with doing that, being like, okay, so if we do that, what about this situation? Even though he wants the realest game possible, when you're a company and you have bosses, you got to present this stuff. So I want to at least make sure everybody knows that you have to present these things. You can't just say this is why it needs to be there if those people above you don't understand. So basically, the counter had always been, even Rex used to say sometimes, like, all right, we throw that in there. How do we keep people from complaining when you manually tell your guy to do this, but his AI kicks in and he's like, nah, I'm going to do that. Then you piss for a whole nother reason. And I was like, you know what? I see your point. I see what you mean. If I'm telling him to do this, but then the auto AI, adaptive AI was like, nah, I see something else. Then you're going to be mad for another reason. I get that. And I think there's a way that you could balance that. But my point is, if we're going to have it to where everybody's not going to be happy, like we are now, I'd rather it be the more realistic way. I'd rather have it to where maybe some safeties are not going to play it like that. But maybe other safeties are smart enough to say, I'm going to squeeze wherever Tyreek Hill is going. Yeah, I'm going to be in my back pedal, but I'm going to shorten that distance a little bit to where I can react. Is he coming right at me? Is he going to break inside or break outside? You can't give but so much cushion when you are the deep safety. So I would like to see guys start reacting. And again, I know we're in the minority, but I would love for Smitty to tell me he ran the replay and he saw his guy immediately jump a route. Like, here comes Tyreek Hill. Man, my safety ran up like it was going to be, a straight, fly pattern coming right at him. And he got beat because he came up too far. Fine. He made a decision. And again, some people going to say, yeah, but if that happened to me, I'm going to be mad. You're never going to be happy. Come on, Steelers fans. Sean Davis. Right. Mike Mitchell. We've seen this in the real world. Remember the game last year when Terrell Edmonds had the interception and he jumped early? I'm just saying, make us believe that there was some calculated decision here. Or if it's a guy like Earl Thomas, he like, no. I know what this about to be. He all on top of that. As soon as he see the break, he's out. Or how about this? You don't want it to be based on the receiver? How about if they're playing zone, as soon as they see the quarterback do this, they react? Because then that opens the game up for this to work and turn and go the other way. You see, Madden? Simple things open the game up. Make these players... Smitty hears me say this all the time. I want head tracking to govern... I don't want to say govern because I don't want it to be restricted to this. But head tracking to me should be a driving force for AI. For all positions. D-line, that's how they know where they want to disengage because they're following the ball. Linebackers know where they want to shoot the gap because they're following the ball. They're not following an interaction. Secondary players are watching the ball. If you in man, you watching your man. See, Madden gives us the illusion, but it ain't really like that. Because if it was really like that, like Smitty just told y'all, like a lot of you guys have seen for yourself, if the guy isn't rated extremely high, ball gone, they still doing this. Oh, now I should turn. Who does that? The worst safety in the NFL don't do that. He might be slow to react, but when he see the ball being thrown, he reacts. But with Madden, it's programmed, man. That's why they could have, and again, and I think Kia is going to understand what I'm about to say here. You do have to have sometimes, there is a such thing as MLB The Show is doing it, where you have certain guys that can react a little faster because they're rated higher, but still the fundamentals are still there. Kia has said this a million times in his breakdown videos, like, you might not make it. I just want to see you do the right thing. Even if you're not good enough to make the play, I want to see you behave as such. Or if you make the wrong choice, show that to me. I don't want to see guys just standing around watching. Oh, the ball was thrown. And like Smitty just told us, that play, if you get time, it sounds like it's going to work. Unless you controlling the safety yourself. And then people want to shame you for that too, Smitty. People, yeah, if you ain't playing in the secondary, come on, man. I shouldn't have to do that. Now I do play the safety sometimes, and I play the linebacker sometimes. But what if I like to get pressure on my own?
But you know what? Top end Madden players don't always play the secondary either. Please, all these Madden tournaments and everything, they all do the exact same thing. They control the D line, they control the secondary. They let the CPU makes a ton of plays for these guys. So I don't want to hear any of that junk about you gotta make every single play or else you're not a real player. Get out of here. These dudes playing for all kinds of money and the CPU be making buku plays for them. So no, I ain't hearing that. But yeah,
Kia makes a good point there too about the. He says, and I agree with this. And it's funny, you hear me complain so much, but then I do agree with this. Hard to replicate intangible characteristics like instincts in a way that doesn't feel cheap. He's right. I.e., X Factor abilities and things. He's right. It's still a game, but...
Well, okay. But see, Kia, this is where I agree with you, but at the same time, I got to disagree with you too. Because look at FIFA. FIFA has the specialties and all that stuff too. But at the same time, does it, like when you play FIFA, does Messi have something magically happen on the field that just takes him over the top all of a sudden? Or what about Ronaldo? Or what about the average player that may have 2 or 3 different specialties to them? Those traits or special skills don't all of a sudden take them over the top. You know what I mean? They don't become greater than everyone else, or they don't all of a sudden get the benefit of a doubt because I got these abilities and you don't. That means I'm better than you. Like I've said before with Sim, I played in the career mode in FIFA. I got a 50 overall, 16-year-old or 18-year-old kid or whatever. He doesn't have many skills at all. But if he's in position to make plays, he's going to make the plays. It doesn't matter if it's against Messi, Ronaldo, whatever. He's going to make the play. It's going to respect his body, his position, my control input, the whole nine. You see what I'm saying? Now, the difference is the problem is with Madden is that's negated because he's got this rating. You know what I'm saying? Oh, because you got Enforcer, that means you're going to knock people out all the time and you're just going to... No, that shouldn't it shouldn't be that simple.
That was so dumb when the game first released. Fumble every time. Like, come on, man.
That shouldn't be the case every really single time, man. And that's what I'm saying. There needs to be levels to stuff. There's no levels to anything in Madden. It's either either all or nothing, excuse me. That's what Madden is. So them having the abilities is not a problem, but the way everything plays out though is the problem. That's the issue. Cuz like you said, just like how you play PES, how Kia plays PES. And you showcase that game. Now, I don't know their attribute system and everything offhand, but even when it comes to the specialties or what guys are known for or whatever, they don't feel gimmicky, cheesy, none of that stuff. Those guys just have exceptional skills on top of their ratings. So, the gameplay plays out accordingly, and it doesn't feel like cheese at all. That's the point. And what makes it upsetting is, once again, EA has already done this. This is your wheelhouse. FIFA's your product, and you already have it done. You could do the same thing here. It's no different. Wide out DB play sim. There's no technique. Well, excuse me. I'm not gonna say there's no technique. there's very little to no, it's very minimal bare bone technique between wideout and DB interaction when it comes to getting in position, jostling, things like that. Look, dang, it's something I had shared earlier, but yeah, I get tweets at times from what's the name of the site? The Sideline Hustle, and from those guys, they put out a tweet. They put out a tweet where they're talking about the wideout and DB play, basically saying use your eyes as a weapon. And they're talking about wide receivers, and they show Chad Johnson. They shown Chad Johnson, and they shown him use their vision, using their eyes, staring at the DB, assessing their reaction, and then they make a move. That stuff alone is the kind of stuff that can differentiate the Tyreek Hills, Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce's, Kenny Galladay's, everybody. Because everyone's not the same. But it shouldn't be as simple as, well, this guy's got 75 release, and that guy's got 98 release. So how are you going to depict it? How are you showcasing it? How come we don't have anything to showcase any of that stuff? But yet, you got a site that's real simple like the Sideline Hustle that literally just showcased Taylor Gabriel, Amari Cooper, and Chad Johnson all using that kind of technique to get themselves open, not just at the line of scrimmage from snap, but also as they run their routes. They literally show them selling a look as if they're looking to the inside, and then they go to the outside and they open themselves up to receive a very comfortable pass reception because the DB saw what they were looking at and bid on it. You don't even have anything like that in Madden, and that's technique. That's literally technique. That's what these dudes do. That's why these dudes be getting paid, and it's like, oh, they can catch. No, it's way more than just catching. It's how they get themselves open. How are these guys the best in the game? Some guys, yes, they are just catching, and that's it. But other guys, they're exceptional at route running, or they're good at selling fakes, or they're good at running themselves open in between zones. Sim, your man that you had, Hines Ward, he was great at that. Yeah. He was great at diagnosing while the play is going on. Oh, I know I know this is a zone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run in the middle of this zone where it's vulnerable at. I'm going to break off of the traditional route and run in the middle of this zone, get myself open, so that way I'm in the sight line of Big Ben, and he could throw it to me. But, he knows what I'm doing. You're talking about receiver and quarterback chemistry and receiver awareness and route running right there. You see what I'm saying? Like, these are the kind of things that could be done in game to take the game to a whole nother level. And you're talking about adding immersion at the same time. And then think if you couple something like that along with what Deuce Douglas talked about earlier this week with the scouting and all that stuff. That's what I'm talking about. Like, it's a great idea to see, just to say this real quick about Deuce, it's a great idea to see Deuce have his kind of idea added into the game. It's cool to see these plays being added into the game and everything, but it doesn't mount up to a hill of beans if you don't have the gameplay functioning right to accompany those kind of changes. Your safeties literally are playing dumb. I mean, you're the safety. It's your job to be over the top of the play. Why aren't you? You're just running back, no diagnosis. Running back, oh snap, receiver beat me. Oh well, let me chase him down now. Why'd he get behind you?
Yeah.
He ain't do nothing special. That play they added, that's not a play action pass. There ain't no fake. There's nothing to be faked out on. You know what I'm saying? Now, the routes can cross you up, yeah, but other than that, there's nothing faking you out. Cover it. Like, that's what we be talking about.
It's what Kia just said here, man. This sums it up perfectly, guys. He's like in pairs. He says pairs are more balanced. It's more situational and based on players' archetypes, and there are usually defensive counters that are balanced as well. None of this auto win stuff. And that sums up everything I feel about Madden.
Yep.
When it comes to one-on-one situations, whether it's the DB and the wideouts or whatever it is, insta sheds, like all of that stuff, man. Listen, yeah. I'm not beating Madden up, okay? Because it's to the point where, just to go on a little off tangent, it's to the point where I know so much about what it's going to take. I just don't waste my energy anymore because the change has to come from the top. It's just that simple. That's why I say I'm in a wait and see. That's why I'm not as vocal as some people, and that's why I don't kick and scream. There's no point. Because unless something changes at the top where they're feeling like, let's go for full-blown authenticity, none of this stuff that we talk about is going to matter. Until we see a change. Now, where I give the devs credit, the devs are a little sneaky, and some of you guys don't realize that. What I mean by that is there's a decision made at the top as far as what we're going to focus on, and the devs creatively implement things that can allow them to sneak some realism into the game, right? Because the people who control things say what they want to do, what they want the direction to be. Then it's up to the developers to implement it and implement how they want this to work along with their engineers, along with their animators, et cetera, et cetera. So that answers the question when people always say, Smitty, well, if that's the case, why do they go for some things that are, would seem to be a realistic feature and maybe it doesn't work correctly, but, well, that's why. See, that's why, because I can tell you right now, the abilities and all of that, I wasn't in the building when they developed the idea, but that tells me right there that's exactly what they did. The higher-ups probably was like, we got to find a way to make these players pop, not play like themselves. They don't use that type of language. I'm just assuming. More like, how can we, make this guy do the one-hand catch and this guy do 100 spins in a row, and that's what the corporate, how they talk. We've got to have that. That looks cool. So then the devs will say, all right, this is what they want. How can we do this where it's more realistic? How can everybody be happy? We could do what they want us to do, but we're going to put some things underneath that. And that's what they are attempted to do with these abilities. Like Kia was saying earlier. Some of them are spot on. If you really think about it, if you go through it, right? If you go through, and I've actually done this like a fool, go through and look at all the abilities and how they match up with the players, they're pretty spot on. The issue, though, is what governs how these things play out. That's where we run into the problem, and that's where the devs don't have the resource ability, meaning time, to really work on making it more like PES and other games that we feel like are more balanced. Because that dev work, that dev time, it takes a lot to do that. And I know some people will say, well, no, they got, they make so much money, they should be, it ain't about that, man. Again, they still can only do what they're able to do in the time that they are allowed. Like the blueprint is there. If you ask me, they have everything. I won't say everything, but for the sake of argument, I am going to say they have everything they need in place for Madden to be a amazing game. They just have to build on these things. They have to get it to code and play out properly. Those abilities, again, some people hate them, but you only hate them because you think they're cheesy. It's no different than badges.
Yeah.
No different. So all they need to do is find better ways to balance things, make things play out on the fly. Don't make it auto wins and blah, blah, blah. And I'm tired of seeing the same animation trigger sometimes when the ball pops up 10 feet. You already know what's going to happen when somebody's going to get to it and pick it off. So they got to get rid of that stuff. You got to find a way for this stuff to just play out. Just let it play out. No auto wins, no auto losses. Force it to play out and make physics and all of that always dictate the outcome. Then you got something. Because those abilities that Patrick Mahomes got, that's how he plays. That's how Aaron Rodgers played. That's how Ben Roethlisberger played. And I'm not mad at the fact that throughout the year, they were taking things away from people. You should. But that's how these dudes play. But here's where it gets crazy. I'm going to comment on what Kia said earlier. Because, Kia, I'm about to blow you away. Right? You said that Watt got 16 and a half sacks through 8 games. You know why I believe that? A guy in our league, Chris, the Patriots owner, he has Brian Burns. And he has built this dude up into a monster. Before the playoffs just started, because I think we're in the divisional round now. Before the playoffs started, this dude had 40 sacks. 40. Y'all hearing me? 40. And when he got hot, when that red X or orange X lit up, forget about it. That's where the problem comes into play. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with a J.J. Watt. And hey, I'm going to be biased for a minute because he's looking like one of the best pass rushers now. My boy T.J. Watt. I'm cool with T.J. Watt being a wrecking ball like he was this year. But there still needs to be a counter. Just because Von Miller is over there or Khalil Mack, it don't mean because he's hot that he's going to beat the offensive lineman every time. No.
Right.
No. And this is what we're saying. Like, the heat check should just be like, oh, this dude feeling good. You might want to stay away from him, but it don't mean he going to get a sack every time out. And that's where the Madden, just to sum it up, that's the problem that Madden has right now. They don't have equal balance on win-losses, and they don't have the necessary other factors to dictate. Because if weight and momentum and leverage and all of that really mattered, I should be able to send 2 guys at Kia's J.J. Watt, and I should be fine for the most part. He might get through here and there, but if I send a couple guys his way, and I'm like, we double teaming him the whole game, use your weight, use your leverage, I should be okay. And I'll just deal with the one-on-one with the other guys. And that's my point. They got to find that sweet balance, man. And until they do that, we're going to be having this conversation a long time. Hopefully not a long time, but that's it.
Yep.
It should never be like that, man. It should never be. I mean, some of it was cool. Like when early on when Brady was warming up. Yeah. Brady, when he is in the zone, he's in the zone. See, I'm not mad at guys being in the zone. And I'm not even mad at, some of the thresholds that you had to do to get guys there. What we're merely saying is we feel like there's too much override in the game with dice rolls and animation. That's all we're saying. If they could find a way to where that stuff is not the driving force, Madden would be a great game. And I'll guarantee you it would. If all of that stuff mattered at all times. We're talking about a totally different game. If that stuff played out as good as a game like PES does. But I don't know, man. Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
And you know what's upsetting is that when it comes to playing the game at times, I'm able to see separate animations between wideout DB play, and it looks good. I'm like, why don't y'all just ship it that way?
Yep.
Quit trying to program these 2-man animations. Do what FIFA does. Once again, you have these instances happen when I practice the game, mainly when I practice. But wide receiver does an animation relative to where the ball is at. So do the two DBs. Two DBs. One DB, he goes up, tries to swap the ball, can't get it. Other DB, he tries to go for the catch. He's not able to get it. All three separate animations, and it looked great. Wide receiver came down with it. Boom. I'm like, this is literally a FIFA situation. But thing is, that's only happening one time out of,
it happens sometimes.
30, 40, 50 snaps. And it's like, I'm throwing all these snaps, and I'm like, how come we can't get that every time?
Man, it happens sometimes.
Yeah, like, I'm telling you, the stars align. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Offline, it's like the stars align. The animations look good, yes. Excuse me. But the problem is you can't branch out, you can't do nothing.
Yeah.
As soon as you're pulled in, you're pulled in. So it doesn't matter if the DB is stacked on top of me and I'm trying to get in position. If I hit triangle, I mean, I know he's knocked out already, guys. Like, oh,
my man is out, boy.
This is routine right here. This happens almost every day. So, but if I have a DB stacked over top, and I want to go up and try and catch the ball anyways, instead of that, I'm gonna get pulled into an animation where only the DB is gonna go up and grab it, and then I'm gonna just basically jump over top like I'm trying to tackle them, or I'm gonna stay flat-footed on the ground and they're gonna make me tackle them or whatever instead. I'm like, no, I hit triangle. Why are you doing this? It's because you get pulled into that two-man animation. You don't have that control. Like, it's garbage, man.
I tell you, man. It's like shout outs to first and frame rates, whichever one of you guys are commenting, is probably VL.
It's VL. Man.
It's so frustrating, like he said, man, that the game used to be like that for the most part in terms of some of the depth and things that we're asking for. Now, don't get me wrong. The DB and wideout interaction stuff hasn't always been, nowhere close. I don't know why. Yo, this thing be tripping sometimes. Y'all see how big they just made Smitty's camera?
Oh, wow.
I don't know what be happening. Hold on, guys. Let me resize them real quick. But yeah, it's not like the DB and wideouts have ever been what we want them to be in any game. But our biggest fear was when they said they were going to do it, and then I would never forget it when Rex said, "Yeah, what we plan on doing next year, we're gonna mocap the whole situation. We're gonna just go up there and we let guys go 1-on-1. We let two guys go after the ball. Da 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 da." It sounded good. And I said, "Whoa, wait! You mocapping that whole sequence?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, He was like, "What?" I was like, "My fear is the animation still has to start and end." And my fear came true. We're still seeing it now. Now, like Smitty said, there are times in the game where you barely see it. It seems very clean, but there's other times when you see them both do that little jog and they go into the animation. They got to find a way, man, to allow those situations to play out without it being a two-man animation. They got to do that. And it's just frustrating, man, because the other stuff, as far as the way the fundamentals of the game worked and depth was once there. And it's not now. And that's the reason why, guys, I'm wearing thin with making so much noise, because I feel like it's not worth it. Because, without saying too much, Smitty knows exactly what I'm talking about here. We've had conversations with other people that are, in this program, and other people who are actually now working in the building. And every time that we say these things, particularly Smitty. I don't know why they just feel like they always got to challenge Smitty for some reason. A lot of times I see it from afar because I've just happened to not be engaged in a conversation. But the sentiment is always more or less, we can only focus on the direction now. It's almost like they don't understand why we gripe so much. And I'm like, are you like? I sometimes want to look at if I was in front of them, look at some of these guys in the face and be like, are you gonna sit there with a straight face and tell me that all of the stuff that I got in Madden 08 that I should just act like it didn't exist? I don't understand that logic. And some of you guys are probably listening to this, and I've been saying, I don't care, man. At this point, I don't care how anybody feels. Yes, it's cool having the interaction that we have, but look, if it gets to a point where people in the building are pissed and they don't want to, okay, whatever. I'm at that point. Because I'm not going to, what we're not going to do is, we're not ever going to stop fighting for what we've always fought for. And I'll say this little story real quick just to bring people up to speed. Back in the day, we was kicking, yelling, and screaming, punching, doing whatever we could, right? We got heard. We got invited. You guys are great. You give great feedback. Come on down. We ended up being in the Game Changer program. And, some people accused our tone of changing. And I said, well, guys, you have to understand. We understand the ins and outs now. I'm not going to say, oh, Smitty, okay, great. And then when I'm away from Smitty, I don't know what's Smitty doing. Who does that? So
Right.
Obviously our tone changed a little bit because we now knew the roots. So there's no more reason to throw tomatoes and kick and scream because we know exactly. So then there was a time when we started seeing, a little bit of progress is happening. We're being listened to. Oh, great. We're affecting change. Then the slow period came again. And it's still there right now in terms of franchise.
Yeah.
So now we're back to being like, wait a minute now. Don't think we forgot. We're still the same people. What about this? What about that? And we keep getting told from people like, oh, well, these things take time. And there's, the amount of resources that are allocated. Like, what are you talking about? I don't want to hear any of that when, even if we don't look outside of Madden franchise, we can stay right there. Yo, you had all of this, the stuff that Deuce Douglas just put on Twitter, to some degree, was fair. In head coach, old Maddens. Now, some of the stuff he's mentioning is tweaked a little bit, but do y'all realize that Deuce is putting out the same wish list stuff every year now?
Mm-hmm.
This stuff used to be in Madden. And let's say if it's not in Madden, there's other sports games out here that have this stuff. So why are you telling me that I should just understand the direction and the game is so big? And what are you talking about? I don't understand them, Smitty. I'm sorry. And I'm saying it because I know some of the people that we're referring to are probably going to see this. I'm sorry, I don't get you when you say that. I get saying, okay, the direction may be different. I acknowledge this. Maybe franchise, because I just said this today in off chat that we have. Smitty probably saw it. I put in there, I said, look, man, I love all this stuff that I really love the work that Deuce is doing, but I'm starting to realize that maybe adding depth in franchise just might not be in the direction right now. It might not be a priority.
Yeah.
And when you know that, I'm kind of tired of giving feedback. I'm kind of tired of it until I see at least a peak of it get touched. Now, this year in franchise, not necessarily franchise, but it did pique my interest a little bit. I was like, oh, they putting abilities in the game? We've been asking for that for years. So that at least made me raise my eyebrows like, okay. But I'm still not optimistic. So all I'm saying is I have to see in 21, I got to see them start approaching some of this stuff, man, before I can feel, gung-ho about feedback, because we've been giving the same feedback every single year. And none of this stuff is being added in there in terms of the depth of the game. I'm tired, man. I'm tired. I just felt like I had to say it, Smitty, because it's been on my mind. Like, getting sick of it. And I know, like people say, we can play old games. I agree. But I shouldn't have to.
Yeah,
Not when I'm about to go to a Generation 5 console. I shouldn't have to do that. I should be able to play a football product that's on the same level as MLB The Show, NBA 2K, FIFA, because those are the games that I'm more familiar with as far as depth, and even a little deeper. NHL with the scouting system.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on. I just don't. Coaching carousel. And that ain't even gameplay. If we had depth right now, I bet you we would complain about the gameplay, but at least we could stomach it more. It'd be like how we feel about 2K. There's certain things about 2K people don't like, but the game is so deep, and the gameplay is good enough to where you're pretty satisfied with the product, and you're willing to wait to see what they do the following year. Can't say the same about Madden.
Right. Yep.
Can't say the same.
Can't say it. So, just understand, guys, when we got involved in this, because we're voices in the community, we're voices of the community as a representative. And it's like we want to take how the people feel and take it to them and say, hey, look, this is how the community feels. Regardless if we are a minority, the bottom line is that we still have a good number of people that feel a certain way about the game and expect more out of it. Still don't have that. Deuce Douglas's post, I get it. I get all kinds of tweets and retweets and likes from that Deuce Douglas post currently. You know what I'm saying? That he did, what was that, like 2 years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
A bunch of them happened today, ironically, after he tweeted the other one.
Yeah. So it's like all of this stuff is being said. What's going on? We told you. All right, guys, what's your feedback list for a franchise mode for Madden 21? We've given you the list already. You come to us with that once you completed that initial list. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's what it has to be. The list ain't changing. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, there's a lot for you to do. A whole lot for you to do.
You know what y'all can do? Y'all can stop asking us and just show us what you're going to do. Surprise us.
Yeah.
Don't ask us for feedback.
Yeah.
Get low, do some of that stuff that we've been asking for, and then say, boom, this is what we got for you.
Yeah, like, hit us hard with it. Yeah, like, hit hard with it. And then that's when you get people opening up about it because of how you're designing the game. You see what I'm saying? When the gameplay feels the way it feels, the modes look as drab as they look, it's like, dude, we don't need to tell you anything. We told you already what needed to be done. You got feedback all about salaries, all about scouting, all about coaching, all about play calling, all about like various things that would be very impactful to the game. So what? What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Seriously. He said VF, Madden 21 franchise mode list is the same as Madden 18. Yeah. Basically, yeah. Like, we've been requesting a lot. And to not have it happen, you make too much money every year off of this franchise alone to be like, well, we can't. Yeah, that's bullcrap. You can do it. You just don't do it. So,
Well, great way to end the night, I guess.
Yep. Oh, yeah, okay.
We try not to talk about Madden, but
yeah.
And that's a shame, man. Just to share that with y'all, I said that to Smitty before the show started. I'm like, I'm tired of talking about. That's a shame that we have to. Wouldn't it be great, man, if we could literally have and again, and I know they won't take it this way. This is not a knock at Gibbs and Falls who started it, and I don't even know if they still quite do it. But remember when they used to have Twim, the This Weekend Madden?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if that's what we were doing on the show? We had a segment every week, and we just talking about, well, this weekend Madden, like what happened here, and oh man, tell me what happened in your franchise, Smitty, and da-da-da-da-da. Just talking football.
Yeah.
It's a shame that we don't want to talk about the game because the game is just not where we want it to be. And like I said, I openly will admit I still can have fun with the game. We have a good time in our 32-man league. Y'all have seen me post my little offline franchise, and I have good games there. But even with that said, there's so much more it could be. And that's what frustrates me, is it could be such a better game. And if you would have told me back when I was playing Madden 05 in 2004 to imagine what Madden 20 would be, I would have told you it probably was to the point where there's these portals in our house that we just stand in and we end up on the field. That's how great I thought Madden was back then. I couldn't even imagine what it would have been in 2020.
Right. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Man, we gonna go ahead and get out of here, man.
Yeah.
It's been working with me hurrying up and rushing off on Thursday nights. I've been getting into bed a lot sooner to commute on Friday. So I got to keep it up. But anyway, guys, before we go, Smitty, you got any last words for the people?
No, other than just thanks a lot for coming through. Definitely have some topics for us.
Yeah.
When it comes to the shows. I know that Madden is always going to be the hot button topic, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, we want to spread it out a bit in terms of talking about these different things, different topics. But if you have ideas, let us know so we could definitely bring it on board and, make that a point of discussion. So, other than that, that's all that I got, man.
And shout outs again to my good brother, Rough House Boxing. Go check him out, guys. I'm sure he got content going up for the fight, as well as, First and Frame Rates. Go check those guys out as well. Just support everybody. Find your fix, find what you like, and there you have it. So appreciate you guys for coming through. See y'all later. Y'all be good, be safe, God bless. Good night, and let's see Deontay Wilder get that knockout on Saturday. Hopefully. We might be talking next week how he got knocked out. Wouldn't that be crazy? But all right, man, y'all be good. Peace.
Peace.